Hard Rock cafes now. That used to be Lansky's clothing store. Still preserved for eternity up there. Lansky's operated out here in 1981. Elvis was first noticed by Lansky in '52 pressing his nose up against the window, probably on his break from when he was working as an usher in Lower State Theatre. Lansky invited him in, and Elvis couldn't afford anything at that time, but he told Lansky one day he'd buy him out, to which Mr. Lansky replied, "Don't buy me out, just buy from me," which Elvis did more or less for the rest of his life. Up ahead, down to the right, will be what used to be Chenaults restaurant, which was reportedly Elvis's favourite restaurant in Memphis. It was open 24 hours. It's that brown building down by there. It was open 24 hours, and they had a private back room to where Elvis took Anita Wood on her first date, and where the press first reported a young Priscilla Presley coming out and going into Elvis's car. Wayne Jackson of the Memphis Horns told stories of coming out of the Manhattan Club after playing all night and getting breakfast at Chenaults because it was 24 hours. So it was part of the fabric of Memphis. So this is the site of the Memphis Fairgrounds. Elvis came here many times, especially after he started recording, and as he got bigger, he would rent out the fairgrounds after hours. He could get away with coming here in the 50s for a while, in the mid 50s, and obviously, although a crowd would gather around him, maybe as it was his hometown, it was a bit more bearable at the time, but eventually got too much, and Elvis started renting out the fairgrounds for all-night parties for his friends and family. The fairgrounds covered this whole area here behind the building. Elvis's favourite ride, the Zippin Pippin roller coaster. There's a historical marker just on the main road outside there. There is a marker actually marking the Zippin Pippin who once stood here, so that shows Elvis's significance, that his favourite ride gets a historical marker. But the Zippin Pippin was situated right behind these buildings here. I think this building might be new, I'm not sure, but that building is the original building from the fairgrounds, but the Zippin Pippin ran all the way up this end here, and then the rest of the fairgrounds spread out across where the grass is there now, all the way down to the end. You can see the sign, historical marker over there for the Zippin Pippin. So back across the road is the playhouse, which was the Memphian Theatre. Probably Elvis's favourite after hours cinema. often renting out the cinema for all night film viewings for friends. That's Gayoso running up there. It used to carry on straight through here before this was built. And on this corner here was the Hull-Dobbs car franchise where Elvis bought a Ford Thunderbird off Ernie Barrasso, and Ernie Barrasso went on to open the Thunderbird Lounge up on Adams, where Elvis held his New Year's Eve parties on I believe 67 and 68. Just a quick stop here, the back of Whitehaven School. Elvis had his own football team in the 60s, EP Enterprises, and he had full kit, full gear for them, which included himself and his friends and some old college players. And they would rent this, Elvis would rent this ground out to play the games against other teams local to the area. Building on the corner there was the Manhattan Club. Elvis had New Year's Eve parties in there in '62, and Willie Mitchell and his band with a house band here at the Manhattan.